Today we're gonna test ride the CB1000R 2018. Let's do this. Yeah, that's how we roll. Big mirrors. Alright guys, let's start this. So we're currently riding a CB1000R Neo Sports Cafe, which is Honda's newest CB. Oh my god, this feels like a train. Jesus Christ. Okay, so moving on. Alright, I'll buy 5. I'll buy 5 of those. So this is the new CB1000R that replaced the model that Honda launched from 2008 to 2018, let's say, because in 18 this one came out. So it's quite a different bike. It's a retro sports kind of futuristic type of bike, as you can see from the dash, as you can see from the pictures and the small clips I've showed you before. Well, and it's something I always wanted to try because I've always loved the CB1000R. So I'm quite happy that I managed to try this one. New dash, everything digital with a little digital speedometer and rev counter, but they made the rev counter to simulate the old analog ones, which I honestly freaking love. You know, I don't normally go into much detail with these bikes. I just like to honestly ride them. Okay, let me... It is very fast. Front end is quite light. Obviously the bike with this much pull, front end has to be light because the front wheel is always off the floor. Yeah, that's every time you ride a 1000cc, no matter what 600cc bike you have, 1000cc is always another level. It's always going to be another level of power and torque and just sheer brute force. And yeah, this is a 3rd gear. The bike just wants to fly. It's so smooth on the road as well. So there's these little LED lights there that I'm not quite sure what they say, but I think they're pointing out kind of optimal rev range. So now I'm quite low. Oh no, it might be engine braking. I don't know what they do, but they look nice. So about the bike, main changes against the previous CB1000R. So this bike has 20 more horsepower. Currently counts on 143 horsepower, 143.5. Don't forget that 0.5 because it makes all the difference. And 104 Newton meters of torque, whilst the previous one had 100 Newton meters of torque. So it's a slight increase there, not much, but a slight increase. What they did as well was they kind of tuned it to be very responsive at lower to mid range, so between 6,000 to 9,000 RPM. So this bike is actually faster for the first 3 gears than the CBR1000RR, which is quite amazing, honestly. So it means that Honda did a good job, and they did what they have to do for a naked bike. Because naked bikes, let's be honest, naked bikes are not about top speed. Naked bikes are about their sheer power. Nice one, very nice. They are all about that sheer power, which obviously, look in 4th gear, how amazing is this? Which obviously these bikes have. When Honda did this, I'm not sure what they were thinking. Not sure what they were thinking, but this is no competition for the MT10. This is no competition for the GSR. This is in its own competition. I don't know what you're doing here. Jesus, this second gear is so torquey. The bike wants to leave you behind. So this bike has its own market niche, let's say, because it's quite appealing to me as kind of a, let's say, a young guy, but I believe this will also be very appealing to people a bit older, because it has that retro look with all modern day technology, which is amazing. Price tag for this is actually also a very good price tag. They cost about £11,300, which nowadays it's not bad for a 1000cc 143 horsepower bike with everything this bike has. You can see a noticeable increase in quality on this bike. A lot of parts are brushed aluminium. They have sleeves on some of the rubber tubing to make it look nicer. Aluminium is machined. It simply looks great. It simply looks great, and you can see that the quality. Engine cases, they're machined. The rear mono swing arm is also machined. I'll show you everything in more detail in a second when we stop, and I can show you the bike a bit better. But overall quality is what you get when you buy this bike. For 11k, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Dash is easily readable. To be honest. With the light that we have now, it's not much, but I tried it under the sun and it's actually quite cool, and you can read it perfectly. I saw some test rides from other bikes where they were struggling a bit under direct sunlight to actually read whatever was on the dash, but in this one I don't see that problem. But you know, 1 hour test ride, sometimes they don't show everything. When it comes to the dash, you have gear indicator, you have obviously rev indicator, fuel gauge. Do we have a fuel gauge? Actually, we might not even have a fuel gauge. I'm not sure about that. I am not very sure if we do have it or not, but we might. I need to explore that after, and I write it down under the video. No, I'll write it down under the video if it does have it. I can't seem to. Oh, it does have it. Found it. The little thing there is the fuel gauge, which is amazing because the CB1000R didn't have it, which I really hated. Nonetheless, fuel gauge, gear indicator, rev counter, speed counter, timer. Does it have a timer? It probably has a. Yeah, it doesn't have a timer. Seems like it does have a timer. It does seem like it has a timer. Obviously, the regular clock, engine temperature, and then the thing we all love. Maybe not all. Maybe just me. What I was saying that I love, which is ride-by-wire. I love ride-by-wire. So what ride-by-wire is basically they eliminated cables. So they eliminated the throttle cable and they just made it a little computer inside your throttle that communicates to your ECU and tells your ECU what to do and how much power to put, bearing in mind the angle at which your throttle actually is. What this creates is it creates a very soft throttle, and it allows them to put different riding modes, because obviously this is communicated with the ECU, so they can tell whatever they want to the ECU, not to put power, to put more power. And the bike comes, there's police coming somewhere, let's run. The bike comes with the bike comes with 3 modes. Whoops. Jesus Christ. The bike comes with 3 modes, which are Sport, Rain, Standard. I think it's Standard, isn't it? Sports, Rain, Standard, and User. So what this does is, okay, if I honestly roll it hard, it will lift up. It will definitely lift up. So what this does is you can obviously select different riding modes. So if it's raining, you select rain mode. What this will do, this will decrease a lot of things. So it will decrease your torque, it will decrease your power, it will decrease engine braking, and yeah, it will generally make the bike safer in the rain. If you select sport, obviously sport is going to be sport, so all the power in the world. So you will get all the power the bike has to offer, you will get full torque, and you get engine braking as well. All of these then have another mode called user mode, so where you can actually personalize how everything actually interacts. So you can set how much power you want, you can set how much torque you want, you can set how much engine braking you want, which is phenomenal. You can set how much engine braking you actually want. This is exactly what the CBR had, and I'm quite happy to see that they kept it on this one. So bike is fully customizable for best performance or for whatever the rider desires. Standard mode is just standard, so the moment is red, so we can go a bit through mode. So sport, you can see traction or torque is at the minimum level of intervention, so it means you have full torque. Engine braking, again, minimum level means you have full engine braking. Power, maximum there, which means you have full power. If you go to standard, you can see torque. There's a lot of intervention there from the ECU. Engine braking, again, a lot of intervention to not to allow you to do some stupid stuff and yeah, and get that engine braking a little bit softer. And then power, you're on not half power, but a little bit over half the power. You also have traction control, which is adjustable, so you can select the degree of intervention that you want the traction control to actually work at, which is another cool thing. A lot of people complain, oh, electronics this, electronics that. This is a way to work around it. So they give you full customization of the electronics of the bike, so people can no longer complain. If you want to switch it off, switch it off. One thing you can't do is actually switching the ABS off. At least as far as I'm concerned, you cannot. I will try to find it out, but I don't think you can. Okay, when you see the little light there, nothing happens because maybe we're moving. Let me select, and the good thing about this is you can actually change modes while riding. Some bikes, they only allow you to change modes if you're actually stopped. So yeah, this is actually quite cool. I'm changing modes through my riding in order to adapt. Nice machine. So I'm currently riding it in sports mode, obviously, to see how the bike feels and how everything works. And because I'm not that experienced in riding modes, I just put everything on full power and that's it. I'm not too fussy about that, to be honest with you. Okay, mirrors are a bit too big for filtering. Well, they sit a bit too high. One thing this bike also has that is quite good is it has 4 piston calipers. So it has ABS. Obviously one of the pistons will be used as the back brake. So when you press the back brake, basically you will activate the front brake as well. So one piston has this job, and then the other 3 pistons will work mainly on the front brake. So it has quite a good stopping power. Obviously it's something you need with a bike with this amount of power as well. Generally speaking, easy to ride, very, very, very smooth, but that's something that Honda does very well. Is their bikes, you just ride them, it's like you've been riding them for the last 10 years. You don't really, let's say you don't really need much experience to grab a Honda and just go, while on other bikes you might need to reconsider a little bit. One thing I was discussing at the dealership was if this bike actually has a steering damper. I'm not quite sure if it does, to be really honest. I will try to search it up to see if it does, but I don't think it does. It might be hidden under here. But might not be. I need to search it. Ooh, tunnel. That's a nice noise. Not the Hornet's noise, but you know. Another little detail that sometimes we don't think about is this. The place where they actually put the key is very well thought of. There's no more fiddling there to put the key. There's no more nothing. It's right there. This is a good place to have the key. You never affect the handlebar. You don't scratch stuff because the key just sits there and that's it. Riding position, well, riding position is as comfortable as you can get, unless you're actually riding a tourer bike. Look at how I am. I'm kind of literally upright. I'm a little bit lower on the Hornet as well because I lowered my handlebar. My handlebar is a little bit lower than stock one. But yeah, you're pretty much sitting upright on this bike. Pretty much. Not gonna lie, I find the seat a little bit too hard for my personal comfort. But one thing that Honda actually did that makes it seem like they didn't want to cut much costs was the tires they put on this bike. Guys, no, I'm not gonna say no other bike, but it's quite rare for any brand to supply you with very expensive tires, especially the OEM ones. So this bike comes with Bridgestone Batlax S21R, which are kind of basically the best you can have before you get track tires. They're Hypersports tires, so you can only imagine how good they are after they're warm. I have BT16 Pros on the Hornet and they're damn good. I can only imagine these ones, how good they must be. These bikes, I love 1000cc because you can ride all day in the first gear, second gear, and they never complain. They absolutely never complain. Every time I ride it, a new detail comes to my mind, which is this one also has slipper clutch. So you don't run the risk of, on a very hard downshift, for the back wheel to lock up and for you to say bye-bye. So before I forget, in the middle of all this traffic, if you have any questions about this bike, or if you're looking for a bike, brand new, used, whatever you need, whatever your necessities, you can go to Honda Chiswick. There's this guy there, his name is Carlos. He's the one that actually allows these test rides to happen. He is the one that allows me to take the bike for a test ride and get the video out for you guys to know a little bit more. So if there's anything you ever need, bike related of course, don't go and ask for then he is the guy to go talk to. He's a 5-star guy. Honestly, you can't go wrong with him. He'll sort you out a good deal, that's for sure.